All right, here we are at the Bort Longyear Memorial Gardens for this episode 21 of Goalie Resiliency. Chris Dawson, along with the one and only Dr. Rob Graham. And Rob, we took a little bit of a twist. We're not in the ice box, but we're going to talk a little bit about a goalie coach and our youngest guest so far. You got to talk to both of them at Voodoos training camp. And first of all, your first guest is Andrew Besseau, who you've actually collaborated with at Voodoos training camp, and you talked a little bit about choosing goalies and watching goalies during junior hockey camps.
Yeah, and you were busy working behind the scenes at that training camp, and so I was one-on-one with the Voodoos goalie coach, Andrew Besseau, and we had a really good conversation about, what is it you're looking for in a junior level goalie looking to play in the Northern Junior Hockey Loop, and what is some of your thinking behind that? And then we talked a little bit about his journey as goaltender too, in terms of what got him to this particular stage of his career where he's working for you as GM of the Powassan Voodoos.
Awesome. Well, we'll take a look at that interview right now.
Well, welcome to another edition of Goalie Resiliency. This is a very special edition. I'm kind of going solo as my partner in crime, the general manager of the Powassan Voodoos, is basically on duty because we are coming to you here live from the dressing room of the Powassan Voodoos, who are currently in training camp. And I'm really honored to be here with Andrew, and Andrew is actually the goalie coach for the Powassan Voodoos. So welcome to the Goalie Resiliency podcast, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, hey, real honor to be here. And we thought, Chris and I thought it'd be really interesting to have some of your insights based on, being a goalie coach, Northern Junior Hockey League, training camp. What is it that, you're looking for in your goalies, and how much input do you as the goalie coach actually have into some of the decisions that are made around these goalies?
A lot of things we're looking for, myself included, and the staff here in Powassan, is consistency with our goaltending. Obviously, edge work, footwork, compete level is huge, and a lot of something that goes unnoticed with goaltenders is the IQ, being able to read plays, read what's going on, and adapt accordingly. So that's a big part of the game. New era goaltending, not just technique and style, but that competitiveness, consistency, and the IQ part of the game.
I like that. So tell me a little bit, Andrew, you, like myself, Canadian kid growing up playing hockey. Tell us a little bit about your hockey journey and where you grew up and playing your hockey.
Yeah, I grew up in Smiths Falls, a small town outside of Ottawa. I grew up playing house league until I was 12, made my first team at Pee Wee B, then went to Bantam A, and then actually Coach Pete was my first AAA coach. It was his first coaching job. For the Rideau St. Lawrence Kings, it was AA back then, which now is a AAA loop. And that was my draft year. That year I was drafted in the CJHL, which is now the CCHL, to my hometown Smiths Falls Bears. And I kind of dabbled with junior A, junior B, and then went off to college and did my thing there.
Cool. And now you've taken that kind of hockey journey and you've kind of parlayed it now into being a goalie coach. And so in terms of being a goalie coach and working with young athletes, you're currently now the goalie coach with the Powassan Voodoos. Tell us a little bit about that journey to getting to this stage.
I've been goalie coaching on and off for about 15 years. I started before I went out west. I'm in law enforcement. I've been doing that for 15 years. When I moved back to Ontario, I picked it up again doing one-on-ones, small group sessions, privates. I have a synthetic setup in our garage at home, and doing associations in the Bracebridge area where I currently live. Coach Pete came up to the Voodoos, and he had me in to do an evaluation on the goaltenders that were there that year in 2022, 2023, before the season started, and basically asked if I had what it took. And it was an evaluation period, and I told him my thoughts and opinions, comments, concerns on the goalies he had at that time, and he thought the evaluation was great, and that's how I came on board.
Excellent. Well, and I enjoyed actually being out with you a month or two ago, just helping out in one of your camps and selections, and so that's fabulous. So if you were to offer some insights to a young goalie coming up right now, knowing what you know about your experience as a goalie and now working with junior level goalies, so some young goalie coming up through the system, what advice would you give the goalie and or the parents?
One day at a time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. have fun, enjoy the process, work at it if you love it, and continue to do it if you love it.
Excellent. I like that. And, you and I think, are connected on a lot of levels in terms of, what we preach and what we believe in terms of goaltending. And basically, I love what you just said there. I always say, chase the experience and not the dream, because I think for me as a kid, I chased the dream and I forgot to enjoy the experience. So that's always kind of like a hallmark of what I preach. All right. Well, this is a time in the interview. If you've watched the podcast, we're going to play a little game of this or that. And there's no right or wrong answer to this. And if you've watched the podcast, you know that I have a couple of banger questions. And I'm starting off with the number one question: Leafs or Habs?
Leafs all the way.
All right. You're already up. You're already up one. All right. Now, fast cars or fast boats?
Fast boats. I enjoy summer.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, me too. I actually did have a Corvette, a C6. I love my Corvette. I don't have it anymore, so I'm more of a kind of a fast car guy. Okay. I don't know. Do you play any instruments?
Actually, I've been playing drums off and on since the 7th grade.
I think I knew that. That's right. So I don't have to ask the question then.
I'm not very good.
You're in a rock band. Are you going to be guitar player or singer?
I'm not a front man, so guitar player hiding behind a speaker.
All right, so that's the drumming roots then, right? It's yeah, exactly. I always say, being a drummer, I sit there and I get to stare at your butts for 3 hours. It's not the most glamorous job there is, that's for sure. Okay, I asked this question in a segment. It's one of my favorite questions. You're stranded on an island. You get to pick one piece of goalie gear. What piece are you taking with you?
I take my goalie skates.
Now that's interesting. I think you're the first one to say goalie skates, so now I'm going to say, why goalie skates?
I think in that situation, it's about survival. I can take my holders off and have steel for cutting line, filleting animals for food. I have laces for fishing line and shelter, and I have boots if the terrain's calling for it.
Well, look at that. Look at that. I mean, it's funny because, I've asked Kenny Appleby and I've asked Ben Goudreau and a bunch of other goalies, and they always say they're taking their sticks, but you're the first one to actually say skates, and there's a lot of wisdom behind that. Okay, well, final question. You know what's coming, and I think I know the answer. Country or rock?
Actually, country.
Okay, well, you almost scored big points, but in my mind, Andrew, you're still a rock star. Thanks for joining us here on the Goalie Resiliency podcast. My good friend Chris Dawson, the general manager of the Powassan Voodoos, is probably running around the rink right now. He's working hard today. So great interview. Thanks, Andrew, and good luck with the training camp.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
Well done, my friend. In the beautiful new Powassan Voodoos dressing room, J.J. Johnson, our trainer, helped get that all spruced up for your interview. So your thoughts about some of the stuff that Andrew talked about?
Well, first of all, hats off to you as GM of the Powassan Voodoos and all the work you've done over the many years with the Voodoos. And you were the one who actually, have been very supportive of my journey as goalie coach and kind of connected me with Andrew. And yeah, I think Andrew, being one of those individuals that's had a similar journey coming up through the hockey and has a desire and a passion to kind of inspire the next generation of goalies working at the junior level for the Voodoos. As Andrew suggested to me, he definitely has a vision for what he's looking for, and not just what he's looking for, but what the management is looking for in terms of getting those goalies. And I think the one thing that's interesting to play at the Northern Junior level, it's you really have to be strong mentally as a goaltender. It's a tough league. It's a long season, and that mental aspect of playing at that level is really important. And I think Andrew, he kind of talked a little bit about that off camera, probably more than he did on camera.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. The other part of it we got our youngest guest who almost was probably in diapers, literally, when he watched his first Voodoos game, because his dad, Brent Tomlinson, was a coach with the Voodoos when we won in 2017, and he is still now our assistant GM. But Barrett is making a name for himself. They're saying Brent Tomlinson who? Because Barrett played in the incredible, almost like an NHL version of 10-year-old hockey at the Brick Tournament in Edmonton, and you did a real interesting job. I know he ended up playing, a kid from the Bracebridge, Muskoka area ends up playing for Team Minnesota, and you talked a little bit about that. So let's take a look at that interview with Rob Graham and Big Save Dave, Barrett Tomlinson.
We have a very exciting podcast here today, our Goalie Resiliency podcast. We are live at the Voodoos, Powassan Voodoos training camp, and I am joined by a very special guest. We have Barrett Big Save Dave Tomlinson, and real honor to have you here for the Goalie Resiliency podcast. So first of all, Barrett, tell me a little bit about yourself. How old are you?
10.
10 years of age. And I know that you had an incredible experience recently playing hockey in Minnesota. Can you tell me a little bit about that tournament and a little bit about that experience?
It was really fun with a great group of people.
Okay, now you actually really created some waves in this tournament. You tell me a little bit about the experience in terms of your play, because it kind of went a little bit viral in terms of your play, right? So tell me about that.
I felt like I played pretty good. We had a really hard pool, though.
You had a hard pool. There was one glove save that I know my partner in crime here, Chris Dawson, there was one particular glove save you made. Is that correct?
Yep.
And did it have some kind of old school flair to it? Like, was it kind of like it was a pretty flashy glove save, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
And how did that feel to be playing in that moment in front of that crowd and making a save like that?
It felt really good.
It felt good. Okay, well, that leads me to my next question, Barrett. You know, I always like to ask my goalies, what's your why? So what is it that makes you want to put the goal pads on at a young age, go out there in front of all these people and face the challenge of stopping this hard rubber puck? What's your why? What motivates you to play this game?
Just have fun.
So having fun. And I think that any goalie coach would say to any young goalie, having fun definitely has to be there. Okay, now you and I had a little bit of a chance to talk in between the periods here at the Powassan Voodoos training camp. And you told me who your favorite goalie was. And it's not an NHL goalie. Can you tell me who that goalie is?
Carter George.
Carter George. Now, Carter George, not in the NHL yet, and that. Tell me what it is that you like about Carter George.
He's just really calm, and I like his play.
What about his play? Now, you've had a lot of goalie coaching, all right? So technically, what is it about his play that you like?
He has a really good stance.
Wow, I'm really, really glad you brought that up, because, you know, I was working with some young goalies this week, and one of the things that as a goalie coach that I really emphasize with my young goalies and even my older goalies is your stance. You always have to be working hard on your stance. Do you play golf?
Little bit.
Little bit. Now, we're going to talk about another sport you do play. But, you know, as a golfer, Barrett, nothing good happens if you don't have the proper stance. And my theory as a goalie coach is your connection to the ice is your skates, right? That's your connection to the ice. So if we don't have good balance and if we don't have good stance and good mechanics, nothing good happens. Yep. All right. So I really like the fact that you kind of commented that you liked his stance. So let's pick up this. Tell me a little bit about this, because this is really cool. So tell me about this other sport that you're really good at too.
So I play lacrosse. I think it's going into my 5th year now. And yeah.
And what position do you play?
I play all the positions.
Everything. So, but you're not a goalie in lacrosse.
No, I had to play for one game when my other goalie got sick, though.
And what are the similarities between playing lacrosse as a goalie and playing goal in hockey? Anything that comes to mind?
They're really close.
They are close, right? And one of the things is, no matter whether you get scored in a goalie in lacrosse or in ice hockey, there's a number goes up on a board and people see your mistakes. And that brings me to my next question, something that we talked about. I always say, to young goalies, learning to deal with failure is really important, because as a goalie, you're going to get scored on. That was something I always struggled with. But you said to me that for the most part, you've done really well with that part of the game, or is that something that as a young goalie that you're still learning to manage?
Like a few years ago, I used to get really nervous, but now it's all gone.
Okay, it's all gone. Wow, then, man, you must have it figured out. That's awesome. But, really exciting to have you here, have you featured on the Goalie Resiliency podcast. But I have to ask you just a couple of questions to finish off. A little game of what we call this or that. Okay, now these are pretty easy questions, but the first one is Montreal Canadiens or Toronto Maple Leafs?
Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay, all right, you're already scoring big. Okay, you're already scoring big points. If you could be, are you a musician? Do you play any instruments?
I played the recorder in school.
Okay, well, fine. If you were in a band, would you be guitar player or drummer?
Drummer.
Oh, gee, you're 2 for 2. I'm a drummer. Okay, you're 2 for 2. All right, next question. This is one of my famous questions. If you were stranded on an island, Barrett, and you got to bring one piece of goalie equipment, what would it be?
My glove.
Your glove. Interesting. Tell me why.
I don't really know. Just like if you, you could fish with it. Like if a fish is right there, you could like scoop it. And if like you found a rock, you could like play catch with it.
Well, very interesting. Final question. If you've ever watched the Goalie Resiliency podcast, you know what this question is going to be. Rock or rap?
What does that mean?
Do you like rock music or rap music? Which one do you choose?
Rap music.
All right. You are still a rock star, buddy. You're still a rock star. Put it there. You're still a rock star. All right. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to seeing this, and we're going to look forward to watching you grow, because we know good things are in store for you, Barrett.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
Excellent. Always a little tougher to try to get the stuff. Some goalies it's hard to do interviews. When they're 10 years old, it's a little harder. So we put you the test too of your interviewing skills. You become such a great interviewer yourself, but tell me what you took from that interview with young Barrett.
Well, Barrett will take that experience of playing in that Brick tournament, and it will serve him for the rest of his goaltending career. Because when we think about confidence is a combination of that kind of the values, the fact that you've done it before, and then your work ethic. And he's going to look back on that tournament as something for the rest of his life is, hey man, look at what I was able to accomplish. And I know he almost had one of those kind of out-of-body experiences as he kind of articulated in that tournament. So, an incredible opportunity for him. And he was able to overcome some of the demons, we call them, the what ifs, what if I fail? He was on a big stage, a big crowd. And I've played hockey in Minnesota, and I know a little bit about Americans and how they value that hockey. And for him playing for that team Minnesota, that was a really big accomplishment for him to be able to play as he did on that stage.
Yeah, and media was covering it literally like a little NHL game for 10-year-olds, in Edmonton. So, anyways, that is it for another edition of Goalie Resiliency. We'll be back with episode 22 very soon, and thank you so much for watching Goalie Resiliency.